A short pun for this video is much needed.
Now that is going to stink. So what you want to do, take a couple of rags, put them in a plastic bag, just like this. Your bag with the rags in it, into the hole. That will keep the sewage smell at bay. Now this is a rotary hammer. We're going to use the angled chisel on this, and we're just going to put it just right underneath the tile and start going. And since we already have an opening where the toilet is, we're going to start there. Now this is going to get very loud and very messy, so you're going to want to wear ear protection and you're going to want to wear your safety goggles.
If you do not have access to a rotary hammer, a simple cold chisel, hammer, and flooring scraper may be more your speed. The cold chisel will help in getting the removal process started, until there is enough room to use the flooring scraper. The flooring scraper will be best for removal in larger areas quickly, while the cold chisel is best for starting the removal process, removing material in hard-to-reach locations, and on material that poses difficulties in the removal process.
Goggles, and we'll wear gloves. We're going to try to keep the baseboards because I'm trying to avoid costing the customer any more money right now. So we want to try to be careful when removing the tile away from the baseboards. Hopefully they didn't put any thin set under the baseboards themselves.
5-gallon buckets are a great way to contain and dispose of the removed tile, especially if there is not a lot of space to work with. Several of them can be stored within reach, and is a convenient way to transport the debris out of the room. Broken tile can be extremely sharp and dangerous. And as with any demolition project, it is strongly recommended that all protective equipment is worn, including gloves, despite the captain's apparent choices to the contrary. When working on hard surfaces, such as floors, and on sharp or rough materials, it is also recommended that some version of knee protection is used, such as knee pads or a padded surface to kneel on, to minimize fatigue.
Contrary to popular belief, demoing workspace is never just swinging a sledgehammer and wiping everything out. It always needs to be a more strategic, thorough process, and removing the tile is no exception, especially if the baseboard is staying intact. So in this case, the area underneath the baseboards needs to be cleared out completely, but we risk damaging the baseboard. We have to go in very carefully, scrape out any of the tile or any of the material that may still be present underneath the baseboards. And in some cases, you may have to use a scraper, but if you're lucky, just a simple screwdriver or a chisel to pry the material out. But we're having to be very careful so we don't damage the bottom of the baseboard.
The gap of the door is pretty big, and for what we're doing, it's going to end up sending chips through that gap if we don't seal it off temporarily.
The same goes for the dust when the mortar is being removed. A few ways to minimize the dust is some sort of a fan put in the window of the bathroom, if there is a window. Keeping the exhaust fan on in the bathroom to keep it from getting too hot, stuffy, and so on. It will also kind of do its part in moving some of the dust out of the room as well. And sweeping and vacuuming regularly as the process is progressed is definitely going to mitigate the dust that's floating around. And don't forget to have a drop cloth set up on the outside of the door, so that way you're not tracking the dust and debris and so on throughout the house as the materials are being removed.
Once the tile and thin-set mortar is removed, the floor should be swept and vacuumed to remove the majority of the debris left behind, and wipe the surface down with a damp cloth to pick up any dust and smaller particles that are left behind.
And make sure during final cleanup that everything is completely off the floor. Every single bit of debris needs to be completely removed, and the floor needs to be completely clear for when the new flooring goes in.
But we will cover the flooring in another Captain Shorts